Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips, and I will spell. Cause they don't just play, but they can rap as well.
Okay. Welcome to another episode of the Anfield South podcast with me, your boy Slim. I'm back again, and today with us we got three goons with us today. I'm not going to call you a new member, Rich, because you've been here before, innit? You know what I mean? Sam. Just 'cause I'm forgetting your name, bro. You know what I mean? Cool. Saying we got a new member with us today from the Anfield South WhatsApp group. We got Dre with us today. We saying, Dre, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for inviting me on.
No worries, man. And we got some returning favourites. You know what I mean?
Chris back in the building.
Easy. Boys, it would be nice if I actually had my notes open, do you know what I mean, to start with. Forgive me, people. I'm a little bit sluggish today. It's been a long weekend. So, boys, last game just gone. Liverpool, Newcastle. Final score 3-1. Let's talk about the lineup, because the lineup, we actually started with a different lineup because we had that stupid international break. So we started with the usual back four. I'm going to call it the usual back four because for me, Matip's a mainstay. So I'm going to call it the usual back four. Midfield three was Wijnaldum,
Ox.
Fabinho, and Ox got his 50th start in the Premier League for us, so which was nice. And then up front we started with Mane, Salah, and Origi. Given the fact that Firmino had such a long trip back, I think he was in Florida somewhere.
America.
He was in America somewhere. Yeah. So Klopp tried to rest him. Sam, talk to me about how the game started with that lineup.
First of all, just going on a lineup, with the games we've got coming up, I would like to have seen Robinson perhaps rested and perhaps Gomez start. And I suppose I was happy with the midfield, but one tweak up front for me, Origi does all right on the left, but I prefer him up front. In terms of how we started, I thought we started okay. I thought that the passing was good. We were playing at a decent enough tempo, but obviously they scored and that kind of
I disagree with our tempo. I think we started a little bit too sluggish.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you reckon, Jay?
I don't know. I felt the tempo was okay for the game, and I think I said before in other people I've spoken to that I think we don't always go at teams sometimes straight up from the off. Actually, we like to settle in, get a foot on the ball, get a feel for them. So I wasn't particularly worried, and I didn't really feel like. To be fair, I didn't really feel like Newcastle were really in the game up until the point that the ball went out wide.
Well, they scored within 7 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Which raises 2 points for me. Obviously, the way we started for me. And second of all, it raised a little question about Trent's defending.
Well, the thing is, I was about to say, people were having a go at Trent. Not really having a go, but said it was his fault. But I thought the initial problem was with Van Dijk. I thought he fell asleep and
he did. He played
Atsu.
I think it was Atsu. He played him on side,
played him on side, and I think that's where it started. With Trent, he's great going forward, but sometimes he's never going to be the greatest of the defenders at left back. But for me, I noticed it more with Van Dijk because it's unusual for him. He's usually the guy who steps up first and then everybody follows. He's the leader, but. I think that initial, sometimes it's not necessarily the goal, but it's what leads up to it.
Oh, 100%.
And for me, it was, I think I'd give Van Dijk as much blame for that as giving it for Trent.
I suppose I have a different viewpoint on it. I felt that actually Trent showed him wide. I felt quite strongly about the fact, I had this conversation with someone else as well, about the fact that he showed him wide. We know that, I know from watching football in general and watching Dutch football that I'm not worried about Williams on his right hand side. So you know what? I'm gonna let him come inside. I'm gonna show him out wide because I don't want him going left and I don't want the ball coming across the box for someone like Joe Linton. So you know what? He showed him wide. Yeah, and actually the footwork was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's a decent bit of skill, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think that when he got the ball, I was like, all right, then don't show him into his weaker foot, his right foot. And he did that, and he obviously he's hitting the top corner. Like you said, the footwork was good. So I think. Although Trent, there are kind of areas defensively he can improve, and I think it's harsh. He could have got a bit tighter, but give credit to the striker. I think sometimes you got someone hits that.
But was that bit of footwork tricky enough to beat Trent? I don't
think it should have been.
I don't
think it should have been. I think it was
I agree with you because I don't. It looks good, but I don't think it was good enough to beat someone of Trent's quality.
Sunday league. Sometimes you let people shoot. You know that he ain't got no right foot. You know what? Let's go and go to the corner flag. You knock yourself out. Right? He's never gonna hit that again. Yeah. You will not see him do that again this season or next.
I think you defend the situation, so you don't go on us past. You look at the man who's in front of you, and you defend in a moment. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to say that. Okay, well, 9 out of 10 times he wouldn't have hit the top corner, which he might not have. I mean, he caught it well, but there's a job to do in that moment, and you do it. It's a bit tighter.
But that's my whole point. Everyone's saying he showed him outside, but if he showed him outside, then he would have went outside. He didn't go outside because there was enough of a gap inside for him to try a skill and go inside. So for me, I feel like Trent didn't block off the inside channel enough to show him down the line enough for me. He left that gap there. That's why he thought to myself, I'm going to cut inside that gap. So visually, you guys are going to be able to see this, but if you're listening to it, you're not. So if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, you're going to flip over to YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button. So if what's his name again? Williams is my left hand and Trent is my right hand. Trent's here and he's here. So he can see inside, whereas I wanted to see Trent more level with him, literally blocking off the inside channel. And then if he goes down the channel, he's matching him stride for stride.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
that's where I think Trent's mistake was. He didn't. He showed him too much of inside, which allowed him to. Right, he might be left-footed, but why are we allowing shots? Because miracles happen.
I think that's harsh. I think it's harsh.
As a defender, I played at right back and left back. Yeah, not a great level, but I played at right and left back. So if I was showing someone down the line, they're going down the line. And when they're going down the line, I'm now pointing to let people know the ball might come in. You might get past me.
You have to remember, as a defender, you play the odds. And you know this, you play the odds. Yeah? Right, you have to play the odds because invariably, if there is always a chance someone's going to get stolen, so you play the odds. The risk is down the left, down the wing. Yeah, he plays the odds, and I think
the danger's the shot for me. It's the cross. You've got 3-4 man in the box plus midfielders that have come back. A DM if he's back. I'd rather the cross come in than the shot. Because like you said, miracles happen.
We don't concede too many headed goals from balls coming into the box.
And a miracle happened yesterday.
If you're playing the odds, you're backing Van Dijk and Matip to get something on it.
I expect also that there is an element of people are coached, players are coached. Yeah. You're told at that level, this person is decent with their left or right, yeah, and they are told where possible, do this, do that. There is an element, admittedly, that people have to use their game intelligence to either stamp on them, and maybe that's where I would agree that Trent's game intelligence probably isn't the best defensively in that respect.
Well, he's going to go down in your estimations, isn't he, Chris? Because you like IQ, don't you, Chris?
I do love some IQ, but for me, if he'd have hit it and Trent it deflected off Trent's knee and got into the top corner, I would have accepted it a bit easier than if the fact that he had a clean hit.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? At least it should be contested. I think all shots into the box should be contested.
You sound like you're changing your mind a bit, Sam. Have we convinced you?
No, I'm still sticking to my original position. For me, if I know your strong foot's on your left foot, I'm trying to get you on your right foot. So for me, I can see the reason why what he's on his right. For me, I think if it's a fullback, you stop the cross. And if he's going on his stronger foot, you're thinking, how likely am I to stop the cross? So again, I think I might have done similar to Trent, played a percentage. You know what? He's strong on his left foot. I don't want to risk it. Let me show him inside, and he's hit a Hail Mary strike. Fair enough.
I think 2-4, 2 against, but we'll agree to disagree because we all love Liverpool. Anyway, in that first half, I just wanted to pick out Oxlade-Chamberlain and talk about his performance. In the whole game. What did you think of his performance, Chris?
Ox to me still looks half a yard short. He had moments where he was really good. But equally, he had moments where he seemed to be rushing it. Season and a half ago, when he was in the team and he was doing well and he was setting up goals, he was playing free and with confidence. He weren't overthinking his passing, and he was just getting a job done. At times yesterday, it seemed like he was panicking a little bit with some of his passing. He did, like I said, it's difficult judging on that game because he some stuff he did really well, worked his ass off. made some decent passes, but there were a few sort of like off passes that were off and stuff. But he just still looks not quite.
But that's
back at the level.
I was gonna say, do you think, Sam, that was just a bit of ring rust from Ox? Because I mean, he hasn't had many match minutes. You see what I'm saying? So do you think he was a bit ring rusty?
Slightly. I think that's played a part. I think that he seemed a bit too eager to impress. I think he's seen that midfield is set, and you think, I've got to come in, I've got to do something. So I think for me that played a little part in his mind. There were a couple of times his touch weren't what it should be, or he overran the ball. But I think generally he's getting there. But I think for me anyway, I just got to, and us as Liverpool fans, got to realise that it's going to be a slow process. It's a long injury, and need to give him a bit of time. But I think he will come back.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, 100%. Yeah.
Dre, do you see him getting any more game time? And if so, do you see where he's going to get it?
I suppose my issue with Ox is when he was at his best, that press that he has was off the ball, on the ball. It was the same. For me yesterday, I felt on the ball, he was on it. I felt off the ball, it wasn't as intense as I would expect. Yeah, and I think that gives you a decision to make at that point, whether or not he gets more games, whether or not you give it against someone that's slightly less talented, a Carabao Cup game or a lower level of opposition. I don't think he's going to get much game at the moment based on what I've seen, and that's only because, as I said, off the ball is where we win first and second balls. At the moment, he's just not there.
Ultimately, I think it comes down to whether or not Kate is fit. If Kate is fit, then I don't think he plays much.
Seriously, you think Kate is ahead of him?
Yeah, I think Kate is our best midfielder, but he doesn't.
On the little showing that he has.
Yeah, I think he's talent. I think, again, me in IQ. Sometimes it's not always if you're managed to execute something, it's your intent. You can see players who are always thinking they're playing chess. Some players play checkers and some players play chess. You can see some players, like Firmino, everything he does is with maybe 2 or 3 passes down the line in mind. And I think Kate is one of those players. Kate's problem is that when he first came, I don't think he was physically strong enough and he weren't fit enough. But
Klopp's regime breaks a lot of people, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why it takes so long. We get frustrated with him not dropping players in there straight away, and you can see from Pepe's struggles again for Arsenal today, why sometimes it's a good idea to just sit somebody or get them in training and get them teach the Premiership, because it's not that easy to walk into. Do you know what I mean? So there is method to Klopp's madness in that regard.
Premier League, Premiership's gone.
I do. I
do. My bad. Paul keeps on calling me that. Premier League. Yeah, sorry. Back to your original question. I think it depends on whether or not if Kate is fit and firing, then.
I think controversial for me is actually, I think, and a fairly controversial opinion is that actually I would probably play Kate further up. I'd almost use him as a dummy run for someone like Firmino. So I think actually he chases the ball quite a lot. He reads the game fairly well, and actually up that end of the pitch, you can afford for him to make mistakes in the Premier League and learn his trade without it really hurting you as much as it would in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because I think for me, what you got to remember, when Ox was in the team, he was playing further forward. But since he's come back into the team, the midfield's changed. I think Klopp wants that rigid 3 in the middle. Yeah. Whereas before, when he was in the team, he'd have probably Chan, Wijnaldum, and he'd be thrusting forward. So again, I think we've got to take into consideration the role that Klopp wants midfielders to play has changed since he's come back. Yeah,
the balance of the midfield has to be. We said it. I think on the last episode we said about Klopp liking that workman-like midfield that can hold and do all the doggy work to allow the front 3 to attack and the full-backs to go forward. Therefore, you've got 3 midfielders who can fill in the gaps when they're gone. So, I think he will. I think he's going to struggle to get into the team and find game time, to be honest with you, because I think that midfield 3 of Fabinho, Henderson and Wijnaldum is going to be the first choice midfield for most games.
I think you've got to look at also the fact that when we bought Ox, and there was a level of forethought in buying Ox, because we kind of knew that Coutinho was probably on his way anyway. Yeah, Coutinho played as a Mets, that kind of left corner, and kind of ran around that space. Yeah, and Ox was almost as an energy, not a likely for like replacement technically, because they played Mane in that space, but it was meant to give us that energy in that space. We don't play like that anymore. And I think there's an element of the team has moved and changed around Ox, and I agree. In terms of, I find it hard where you put Ox now, unless and then you have to put either Ox or Keita probably further up the pitch. Allow them to make the mistakes up that end. You don't want them making that mistake in the middle of the park and getting punished by people that are now pressing us.
What a difference a year makes for Ox, boy. Do you know what I mean? Out with that injury, difference a year makes.
It's football, man. It's cruel.
I know. But anyway, moving on. So obviously we said Newcastle scored pretty early. We managed to get back in the game with an absolute superb strike from Mane. I mean, that boy, he is something else.
Finishes come on leaps and bounds.
Absolutely amazing. But and then I want to talk about when Origi got injured and that man Bobby Firmino came on the pitch.
Professor Firmino.
I mean, I don't know what words to use for that guy. He's just absolutely amazing. He is showing everyone what it means to be Brazilian for me, with his intelligence, his trickery, his flair, just everything about him. That just tell me how he changed that game around yesterday.
Well, I think Ryan mentioned in the group. Sorry to cut you off. He's always had it, but I think Ryan mentioned that because he's won the Champions League and the Copa America, he's sort of free and maybe he's relaxed in his own frame. And I think you're seeing the full, you know what I mean, Arsenal come out now. Do you know what I mean? Not that kind of, the good Arsenal. The full
Repertoire.
Great word.
I would say that Origi swaps with Mane and Salah in fairly similar ways. But what the difference between Origi and Firmino is that Firmino's closing down of space and movement between the midfield and the strikers is so quick. If you just look at the way he plays, you can turn a midfield 4 into midfield 5 within seconds. You can turn a front 2 into a front 3 or a front 4 or a front 5 when you've got the two fullbacks really quickly. And the difference is that Origi doesn't have that. And that's no disrespect to Origi, just not in his makeup. And I think the minute that you get Firmino on the pitch and he starts doing those things and he's closing that, he's making that midfield and that attackers go almost like short. It's almost like he's compressing the space between the two just because he's that quick. I think that's the difference. And I think if you look at the goal, that probably exhibits it fairly well.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I've kind of run out of kind of superlative to call the man. I think, just as what you said, I think he's a lot freer. He understands the system, and he's just relaxed with himself. I think he just sees things before they happen. He's got a picture of the game in his head, and he sees someone moving, or if I can come here, drop deeper, and I can play a through ball here, this guy will make a run, it will open up this space. He's seeing things before they actually materialise, and he's taking his game to another level. And
shout out to Robbo as well. I've got to give Robbo a shout because that touch, that touch makes it. Very good touch to take it past. Is it Longstaff or was it? I can't remember.
What for the Mane goal? You
for
mean?
the Mane goal?
Yeah, that was a good touch. Yeah,
touch was just.
For me, if you're gonna build a footballer, it would be Firmino. I think that guy's pretty.
Do you know what? I think it was it yourself that said in the Anfield South WhatsApp group about has Klopp created a unique category of player in Firmino?
Yeah, I think
that was a really good question. And on top of that, I think you said, is there a comparable player to Firmino in world football? I think that is a really good question.
I don't think there is, because when you combine all these attributes, the work rate is selflessness. The guy, I generally don't think he cares if he scores a goal. I think every once in a while he might want to score a goal or just boost his ego, but I think I don't think I've ever seen that guy angry or annoyed or something. He's always happy. He's free. He plays free, and you can see that in his game.
It's like a little kid back in Brazil.
Exactly.
Showcasing
you know what I mean?
his skills.
His IQ. You cannot teach that. You cannot buy it. You cannot replicate it. It's just you either got it or you don't.
Did he always have it, or?
I think he's always been that way. If you at Hoffenheim, he played at number 10, so he knows how to read the game. But it's very rare. It's very rare. Like you got Ozil, for example, who's great at assisting and all that, but he hasn't got Firmino's heart, passion, work rate. That's what I'm trying to say is unique, because you have players throughout the world who have elements of Firmino.
Yeah, different attributes.
But they haven't. It's not all combined in a single player, except for Firmino himself.
And I also think there's an element of, since Coutinho left, actually Firmino controls those channels better. Now, because actually he hasn't got to keep rotating in and out, and I don't think he ever really felt that comfortable being a spearhead per se at that time. I think Coutinho goes actually made him. Yeah,
made him step up. He was kind of happy to be in Coutinho's shadow a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Team guys, but that's his one. That is his one flaw. selfless. Sometimes he's too selfless.
Did you mention it in the group, or someone mentioned it about Muller? Said that the closest thing that they ever felt to Firmino was, and it was really like a basic.
I saw that. Yeah,
but
I can't remember who said it.
I don't remember who said it. It was a Muller.
Yeah.
That kind of old style German Rammdeuter that just kind of comes in, but he's got a bit. He's got more than that.
Yeah.
He's kind of got the extra bits in terms of reading the game, and he's got a bit of trickery and a bit of.
So
I think credit's got to go to Klopp as well. Sorry, just cut in, just because for identifying that. Because I think if Rodgers had been in charge, he'd have still been a left winger, forward striker. So I think Klopp's got to get credit for identifying. He's got the attributes.
Don't talk about Brendan, please.
That's why I wanted. Hey, that's my stepdad, man. Let's not disrespect my stepdad.
But he was
You know what I'm saying?
for Brendan.
That's why I wanted to ask you, Sam. I wanted to say, we talk a lot about Salah, obviously, and we talk a lot about Mane, but more so Salah. We say the team's probably more built for Salah, but in actual fact, do you think the team's more built around Bobby Firmino?
I think if he goes, or if he's not playing, our level dropped a bit. It's as evident in the first half. Like, I thought we were doing all right. We didn't panic, but there was something missing in the front three. That connection, that the understanding wasn't quite there. But when he came on, just like a light bulb switched on. Everything came into place. Midfield was linking better. He's linking better with, especially him and Mane. Their understanding as well, I think, is gone up. It's linking with Salah. I think they respect him too. I think they can see he's the professor. You can tell from by some of the runs they make. Some of the runs, anybody else you probably wouldn't even. But they know Firmino is good enough to get the ball to you somehow.
Do you know what? Yeah, they said it. Yeah, they said like this computer game stuff, the things that he does. I mean, he should not be allowed to like. I think there should be like a special sin bin card for people that do skills like that. Because it's out of order. It's just not fair, isn't it?
He's mugging people right now.
It's just not fair.
You know the telltale sign about how good that flick was for the third goal. If you watch the three Newcastle players around him, they'll standing there, and then they'll do this. Like, where has the ball gone? It's gone, and by the time it's in the back of the net. That's how good that was.
You look at the goal. We're probably going ahead of ourselves, but you look at that goal. There are 5 men around him. It takes 5 men out with one flick. Literally, there are 5 men standing there looking at him going.
That's what I'm trying to say. They all stand. If you look at it, you watch the video again when you go, they're standing there looking.
One of them got injured, didn't he?
Yeah.
One of them
Bobby Shaw. Yeah.
Listen, Bobby Firmino is, for me, I said, is probably the most important. I said it last week. Salah could go, Mane could go.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, I'll be upset.
Yeah.
But I think with Bobby there, we could rebuild and be fine.
Yep.
Bobby goes, we got problems.
I had a discussion with someone about, they were talking about what they call the best players at Liverpool, and I said, you have to understand that without Firmino, those other two are not doing what they're doing.
100%.
And
They
how
don't get
much
their
I like
goals.
them, they'll get goals, but,
Of course they will.
they're not doing what they're doing.
100%. I actually think they should donate a portion of their salaries to him because he's getting them guys new contracts every couple of years.
I'm telling you. Love Bobby Firmino, man. Big up Bobby Firmino. So, do you know what? Who scored the second goal? Have I lost who scored the second goal?
Scored.
Mane got 2.
Yeah, he got 2, didn't he? Yeah.
Off a Firmino pass.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah, he came onto pitch. That's it. The Bravka. It was kind of the Bravka mistake, but it was still a great ball through ball from Firmino.
Sick.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
weight on it.
Gives great weight on it. I reckon he could have done with putting a little bit less on it, but it gives the keeper something to do.
You have to ask a question.
Yeah, he asked. That's the words I was looking for. Yeah, give the keeper a question to answer, and you didn't have the right answer. So yeah, Mane just stepped in quickly. But okay, what else I wanted to ask? So after Burnley Gate, as we're calling it, and the whole Salah and Mane thing, how lovely was it to see that photograph? Well, if you watched the game, you would have seen it in game, but to see that picture of all 3 of them, like in a huddle together, and Mane with his arms around both Firmino and Salah, I thought that for me, I was just like, yeah, just shut all the haters up, put it to bed. But after all of that, do you think Salah was trying too hard to put a pass into Mane, set him up? Do you think he was trying too much? Because I kind of watching it, I was thinking he's looking for him quite a lot. So he's kind of like gone the other way a bit.
I think Salah was subdued yesterday, in my opinion. I think he was, barring the goal, he was fairly subdued.
I think it was on his mind.
Yeah,
it was on his mind.
He wasn't as dynamic as he normally is.
Yeah,
I think pressure's been put on him to be great. I don't know if it's from him, from himself, or from the legion of fans he has back home or whatever. He's become this superstar, He's a hero to Egypt. He always had been a hero to Egypt, hero in the Arabic world. And I think a certain amount of pressure has come along with that, where he feels like he has to score. If his name's not on the score sheet, because I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he comes across as a really nice guy.
Because I saw him trying really hard towards the end of the game. I saw him trying really hard. Before he got his goal, he looked like he was trying hard to get a goal. I think once Mane got like the 2 goals, I thought, okay, now I can actually shine.
But this is the thing, something we spoke about, and not to go back into it, but the instances where we consider him greedy. The 3rd goal yesterday epitomises what he was doing in the first season. He wasn't trying to dribble past everybody. He just released the ball and trusted his teammates to find him. And that's all I want from him. I don't want him to not have a shot. I'm a team first kind of guy. So I frown upon situations. And I did it to Manny when he did it against Everton, where you have a wide open teammate and a low percentage shot on. So for me, you got to find that. It doesn't matter how many goals you're up, but it's team, and it will come to you. We're such a dynamic force going forward. You'll get your goals. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to search for him.
I think there is an element. There is an element of, and I hate looking over at City and thinking, man, they got a lot, yeah. But what they are very good at, and they have been very good at, is they'll murder you for like 5-6-1, and they'll get to 5 or 6, and they won't care who scores the goals. And then they'll start flipping it, and only at that point when you're almost dead on the floor.
Right, they couldn't score 5 and 6 yesterday, could they?
Start getting greedy. Even Aguero has been tamed by Pep, and I think we need to almost be that ruthless. Get ourselves to 4-5, murder teams. Yeah,
because Pep's all about the team, and you've seen him go ballistic when people make their 5-1 up, and somebody didn't pass the ball, and he goes off. He goes because this is what we practice. He's not going mad because he doesn't want a person to score, but it's what we've practiced. The extra pass, get it to your teammate, let him score because he's wide open. It's not hero ball. It's the team. I don't care which one of you scores.
Do the right thing. Do what's best for the team. Just go back on that Salah bit. I think we're talking about Firmino being free, having the freedom to play his game and do things, and things come natural. I think it's almost the opposite with Salah. Like, especially like towards patches of last season, he kind of, like you're saying, I feel he thinks that he's under pressure to do something or create something or and that's why he's almost playing within himself to an extent. So I just kind of didn't know what your thoughts were on that. Like, do you think that?
For me, yesterday, I just felt like he was trying too hard to just reverse everything that happened at Burnley. I don't think he was playing within himself. I think he was just trying to make amends and show everybody, look, like, I did make a mistake. I was greedy, but I'm not greedy now, and he's trying to set Mane up. That's what I think. But I feel he played all right. He was
fits and starts, I think.
But I think the light's always going to be on Salah, and it's what's his 3rd season now. It's just going to even get harder and harder for him to score goals. Do you know what I mean? Because he's going to get that special attention. Everybody knows what he's about now. He's been found out, so his performances might not be as gleaming as they were in his 1st season or even last season, but on the whole, I think he's all right. I think he's doing all right, man.
He started. Funny thing is, before the Burnley game, I was actually saying to somebody that he's returning to the old Salah way. He wasn't trying to dribble past everybody. He was actually passing it. He kind of reverted back to, I don't know if you know you call it reverted back to whatever he was doing before when that period of greediness came on. But I think before that Burnley game, he was passing it. He was back to the old Salah that we all know and love, where he was just passing and moving and just getting on the end of things rather than trying to dribble past everybody. And I think sometimes, because you can see Klopp even shouted at him in that Burnley game. I think he knows what he needs to get back to, because we definitely are a team and we're not about individuals. So
Yeah, well, do you know what? As long as he keeps scoring goals, I'm quite happy for what will be. I'm not really going to get into the whole too invested in the whole. Is he greedy? Blah blah blah. I just want the team to win 3 points every week, and we move forward. So what's that? 5 games now in the Premier League. We're 5-5, looking pretty impressive. Like I said, City have dropped points against Norwich, which nobody expected. It's funny because I said at the start of that City game, I was like, everyone's expecting Norwich to get tanked. Imagine they beat them, but it's just something you just say, and then they beat them. So we're now 5 points clear at the top of the league. But as I said in the Anfield South WhatsApp group last year, what were we? 7?
7.
No, 7. And
could have gone to 10.
5 points clear with 3 to play.
Yeah.
no one can tell me anything right now. We're 5 games, 5 games in, and I had someone telling me, "Oh, do you believe yet?" We're 5 games in here.
Yes.
Let's just temper the mood.
Let's
here.
relax a little bit.
Yeah.
As good as it looks.
I'd give my left arm to be that same, because I think we're a different animal. I'm not going after 5 games. I just think a Champions League win let these boys know that we're good enough. And I think if the situation comes up again, if City I tell you what, if they're dependent on that same sort of buckle or mini buckle that we had, I don't see it this year. I mean,
really,
obviously injuries and that permitting. I don't see it. I think if we get that opportunity again, I think it's lights out.
I hope you're right. But I'm nervous after last season. If you give me 5 points clear with 2-3 games to go, then
that's the
cool,
weird thing,
innit?
Slim. I'm not nervous. Last year I was not even enjoying football. I was so nervous. It was just seriously, it was paralyzing. This year I just feel like I'm watching certain games. Even in the game yesterday, we're losing. I'm thinking, why am I not nervous? I'm not even remotely nervous. We're gonna turn this up.
Well, shouts out to Stuart, because he went to the game and he said that in the crowd, there was, even when we were 1 down, there was no nervousness from the crowd. Like he said, it's like the crowd knew we were going to score. Usually before, like most teams, you go a goal down, you get a little bit nervy and then the pressure heaps on the players. But I think the way we're playing, I just guess the crowd know.
My worry is the Firmino conundrum. I think, the way Firmino's playing at the moment, in the old days, we used to, you'd go and they'd come up with 2 banks of 4 and they'd stifle you. And I remember last year, we just struggle at certain teams because they just come with the bank of 4. West Ham was the tour, I think it wasn't it, where we just, they basically just rocked up with these 2 banks of 4 and we struggled. At the moment, I look at Bobby and I think, at the moment, it doesn't matter. They come at us, we have them. They sit back, we have them. Right? But my worry is that without Bobby on the pitch, it's a problem, and I think he's very key to us. And I just think without him, there are some games we might struggle in.
That's why we need Ox and Cater to step into the void.
Yeah,
That's what
he's got to use a squad for me. He doesn't use a squad as much as I'd like him to. I think he rotates in midfield, but
let me ask you then, with Cater to come in and Alisson to come back and stuff, can we rotate the squad effectively without a drop-off in performance?
I think we can, because I was actually having this conversation, I think yesterday. I think our squad, it's good enough to rotate. I think, like I say, if Cater could come in, I think he'd do a job. I think Shaqiri, I'm a big fan of Shaqiri. I think he needs to get more games. I think Klopp needs to trust him a bit more. I'm one for keeping a back four that's quite consistent, but I think from time to time, especially Robertson, we're going to perhaps put Gomez there. But I think the players are there. I think the players are good enough. It's just Klopp having that faith and that trust in them to that, I can trust you to go in and do a job for me.
I feel the same way about Robertson. But there's something about that guy. Every time I look at him, I think, maybe he looks a bit tired. He just comes back and just revs. I'm telling you, it's nuts. It's just like, because I thought, and in the game before, which game was it? He's been getting killed for Scotland. His performances for Scotland, but then Scotland are not very good, to be honest with you.
True.
But exactly, but this whole country. But
sorry, man. Listen, any Scottish listeners out there? Yeah, Anfield South. That's on him. That's his opinion.
Send me a message on YouTube and I'll send you my at Twitter. Yeah.
No, but he's every time you think he's like getting tired. I don't think I can get tired. I think he has odd moments. And his adrenaline and his energy is just
it's next level.
Crazy.
But
I do agree with the rotation though.
50 games, I think we've got to, at some points of the season, we've got to kind of take him out just for his own.
His own good.
Yeah.
We got Milner.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'll take Milner at left back because at least I know defensively we'll be still solid. It will just lose something attacking. But then I think if you put Milner in at left back, I think that then tells you need to put someone from midfield go forward, and do you know what I mean?
I like to see that. Was it the kid? Is it Larucci?
Larucci.
Yeah, I'd give him a the odd game, 1 or 2 games. I think he's good enough to have the odd game. I'm not talking about against Man United. Well,
that's not in the Premier League. Can we afford to put new people in the league now?
I think our team is that good. We can compensate for it, and he's not an appalling player.
Have you seen under 23s play recently?
No.
They play exactly the same football.
Yeah, bro,
exactly the same football.
so he would know the system.
He knows the
system.
system.
They do. They know the system.
They play
They come in.
exactly the same football. There is no, if you look at the two teams, there's no difference. Just at a different level.
We're never under sustained pressure long enough for it to matter. He's not going to be back there. Oh my God, help him out. We're fired. You know what I mean? So you might get the odd 10 minutes here or there, but I drop him in there because he's. I think he might be as quick, maybe even quicker than to Robertson. I mean, he's a tank as well. He's not going to get bullied.
That's some feat to be quicker than Robertson.
He's quick. No, he's rapid. He's really quick player. Gerrard just sings his praises. I think he was the first on Gerrard's team sheet when he was running the show. But I wouldn't mind seeing him getting in the odd game. I'm not talking about sustained, but if you want to give Robertson a rest here or there, chuck him in. Why not? That's how Trent started.
I thought Milner actually yesterday when he came on was actually, not bad.
Yeah,
I don't like
Milner's
that.
always.
Personally, I don't like that substitution.
Do you like that substitution?
I respect James Milner a lot, and I like James Milner a lot, but I think he's old guard and need that space of him coming on the pitch. It needs to be for someone else. We're 3-1 up against Newcastle at home. They didn't want it after that. What score did? I don't even care what score he came on at. To be honest with you,
I think it was 3-1.
Yeah, I just think it's just a sub that's a wasted sub.
I'm like a man that's like, let's think about later on, but you know what? I'm old enough to remember our last league title, and I will do whatever it takes to win it. If that means putting James Milner on to stifle a game, or with some extra energy at the end to kill a game like that, you know what? I will take it all day long.
And I understand why you take it, but I'm here for. I want to see some of the youth and the fringe players
I agree with that.
get some minutes.
I agree with that.
And when it's good, think about it. When you win a football match, it's all laughy, jokey. Everyone's happy. You go in the change room. Those boys that sit on the bench time in, time out, and you got guys like Milner that go get ahead of them to get on the pitch. Yeah, they might be happy, but inside, or when they go home to their missus or their mums, however old they are, and be like, "Why you put Milner on again, man? Like, we were winning. Like, could I not just got 5-10 minutes? Like, I'm telling you,
as long as
if the game's sewn up, I'd much rather see a Brewster get some minutes, or do you know what I mean? Something like that, rather than a Milner who we know what he's going to give us. We know what he can do. He's been there, done that. He's got the T-shirt. Why does he need that?
There's a couple. So there's the Brewster, okay, you know what? He needs some games. No doubt about that, yeah? Hoover, whatever his name is.
Hoover, yeah.
LaRouche, they're a limited number of people. And I think you have to understand that the level between under 23 and the senior team is so huge, so huge. And I think there's only a limited amount of people that you can pull from that pool of people to come and play. The rest, and I'll be frank, they're cannon fodder. Yeah, they are investment money. They are there.
I mean, lately we've been selling so many youngsters and making profit.
Profits. Lanky's a prime example of a very good turnaround. So for me, I get where you're coming from, but actually, I'm realistic enough to know that actually, out of all the youngsters we got coming out back of Melwood, and going to the new Kirby development, actually, very few are going to make it.
Well, that's standard in football.
That's sorry, Chris, to cut you. That's normal. But then what I'm saying is, if you're going to put these guys, I mean, I don't remember who was on the bench yesterday, but if you're going to put these guys in and amongst the first team and on the bench for the games, then
I think yesterday I can see why I put on Milner, because he didn't have any of the midfielders, any of the young midfielders in there. Bring back Wilson.
Davies is Curtis. Was Curtis Jones?
Yeah, Jones.
Was he on the bench?
I don't think he was on the bench.
I don't think he was on the bench.
No, he wasn't on the bench. So if he'd have been on the bench, I'd have said yeah. But for me, as long as Captain Crowton don't come on,
let it go, man. Let it go.
As long as he don't come out, he should not be getting minutes. I'm actually offended by the fact that he's on the bench. But
okay, seriously, love him or loathe him, Lallana, even him ahead of a Milner. Like, just no. Listen, I'm not saying he should go. He should get minutes. I'm just saying, if I had to pick out of the two to get minutes in a game where we're winning, I'd give it to Lallana. Like, do you see what I mean?
So would you pick Lallana or Shaqiri?
Shaqiri.
For me, if you're gonna, Lallana has his uses, right? Newcastle, you didn't want to agree, but Newcastle is probably his use, right? He can go and Cruyff turn their fullbacks quite happily, not a problem.
There you go.
But for me, he said if you're going to play the youngsters, you should only really play youngsters that really have a chance. Yeah, let's not give people like Woodburn, any hope, false hope. Yeah, let's kill their hope here.
Wow, you are frank.
Grinch. the Grinch that stole a career.
Wow.
Don't listen to him, young men. Keep trying.
That's
right?
it, man.
Keep
Aim
trying.
high. Aim high.
You know?
Biggie said the sky's the limit.
Exactly.
For Woodburn, I'm not quite sure, but honestly, I just said sometimes you just got to be.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I think Jones is a very talented player. I think Woodburn could do a job late on in the game. The only person I wouldn't want to come on and take minutes is Lallana, because I'm not sure why he's still at Liverpool.
And that begs the question of Harry Wilson. You know, but
Well,
that's
yeah,
another
I love Harry
conversation.
Wilson. I think he's an exceptional player. Well, not exceptional player, but I think he's a very good player. And I didn't have any problem with Mona coming on them, because I think Klopp's a bit more reserved now, and he's just think, we got the 3 points in the bag.
Let's just shore
Yeah.
it
Shore
up.
it
a bit.
up.
Manage
Look at
the
it, and he's
game,
he's another leader on the pitch. You see what happened to Arsenal today? They've got no leaders, and
Capitulated.
their arseholes fell out.
I hear they're looking at another year for Milner, aren't they? Apparently.
What?
I hope so.
Contract?
Yeah, yeah,
I
I think
wouldn't be
we're
mad at
looking
that. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I think
He's a
he's
great
great.
pro to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
around.
no,
Great
exactly.
pro to have around.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree with
great
that.
example for
Yeah.
all the youngsters coming up. You know what I mean?
Officially get him on a star for when he does return, mate.
Shouts out to Milner. He's got a book coming out as well.
Yeah, big up, Millie.
I tell you, his Twitter is peak, man. I tell you.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Too funny.
It's funny.
I have to follow him.
We do digress. Anyway, so you know what? Obviously won the game. We're top of the league, 5 points clear. Just a little stat that everyone should know here. That was Liverpool were the first team in top flight football to win 14 straight league games by 2 goals or more.
Exceptional.
Big up.
We're breaking
Big
records.
up,
We're
man.
breaking
Yeah.
records.
Getting in the right direction.
Exceptional.
That's good, man.
All right, let's move on to Tuesday quickly. Just have a little preview. We got Napoli. Are we home or away? Away to Napoli. Okay. Expectations for that game. Lineup, score.
A draw.
I think we win 2-1 or 3-1. Napoli are regressing year on year. I think they're shipping goals massively. I think Koulibaly's made 2 or 3 errors already this year, resulting to goals. I think they're a decent unit, but if we turn up with any level of professionalism, we'll take the points. And I'm happy it's our first game away in the Champions League. I think it sets up the rest of the group. It's probably the most difficult game in the Champions League in our group.
I like the fact that we got our hardest game first. So if we get kind of anything from that game, we should go through. Lineup wise, I think Henderson will start. I think he probably held him back.
Yeah, because he played both. He played for both games for England. I know he played the second game. He played first game for England as well.
I can't remember.
None of us know because we don't give a crap about international football.
No, it's boring as hell.
You know what I mean? But I think he probably did play both games. So, I mean, but I know he played the second game and so he rested him.
Big up, Hendo.
So no, Henderson will play. I think he would have liked to perhaps have Firmino rested, but obviously had to come on. So I'm expecting the usual front three. I think he's going to play strongest team. We can win, but I do think Napoli are okay because they bought some Roma defender.
Was
Who's
it
quite good.
Manolas? Was it?
He's decent. And is it?
He's not. I disagree with you on that. He's not decent.
They beat us as well last season.
He was at Anfield when we ripped them to shred. He's not. He's slow.
What I would say, my main concern is not actually the team itself. Right? I think pound for pound, we've got a better team. There's absolutely no doubt about that. My issue is Ancelotti, and he's a wily character, and he's always got something tactically up his sleeve, and that's my main concern. Is that we know how we're going to play. Yeah, they know how we're going to play. Yeah, and if anyone in world football is going to pull some kind of tactical rabbit out of the hat, Ancelotti is probably one of those guys. Yeah.
No, I agree with that, but I do believe that if we turn up and they turn up, we win. Well, I just think we're better than them. So if we last year we went there and it was probably top 3 poorest games I've seen of us. We were horrendous from start to finish. It's one of the worst games under club I've ever seen. I don't think there was a man that walked off in that game and said they. I don't think anybody got over a 4 in that game. It was that bad for me. I can't see us perform. Not that they can't. I'm not suggesting we can't lose because, like I said, they've got good players and it's their ground, so there's always a chance. But I just think we've moved to another level of professionalism. And if we maintain that, then at the very least we get a draw.
Yeah, I think we also got to be aware of now we're champions of Europe. We're a scalp. So like Napoli
Teams
will be coming up at us and like, you know what, let's do something to the Champions League.
They owe
Europe,
us for last season as well.
Yeah,
isn't it?
we took their place in the knockout stage. So
I see Jurgen downplayed our chances, didn't he, a couple of weeks back?
yeah,
Because what good managers do, take the pressure off. He knows that everybody's coming for us, but we're ready, man. We're defending the gates.
So just to slightly go back a little bit, obviously with the Champions League starting, obviously we start great form, 5 games, but we've just been playing 1 game a week. With the Champions League now coming back in, can we maintain the form that we've shown in the Champions League and then at the weekend in the next game?
I think there's an element of people now understand there's 2 games a week. And I think the kids on the bench or the people on the bench will be more motivated now. At the moment, they've been looking at it again. It's week in, week out. Premiership. I'm not getting a sniff. Premier League. Sorry.
Showing your age.
I'm old. And so I think now those players will be motivated. So I don't think it's going to be an issue personally.
yeah. As I said before, I think our squad's good enough. I think that especially midfield wise, I think for Fabinho starts. Ronaldo perhaps, and then you can start whoever, and I'll be happy with that. So it's a matter of Klopp trusting them.
Fabinho's first on the team sheet, one of the first on the team sheet. He's very good at the moment.
Midfield is one position. Well, the positions I'm least concerned about in our team. I think midfield, we've got a wealth of talent. Yeah. We're covered. We've got enough talent to cope with the extra fixtures of the Champions League. To be honest with you, for me, it's defence. So. Obviously, for me, it's the front 3 where the problems lie when it comes to cover X, Y, and Z. But I feel like we can handle the fixtures. I mean, we did it last season. There was no drop off last season, was there? I mean, we ended up 1 point behind the winners eventually. But I feel we can.
Yeah. I think there wasn't a drop off, but like you're asking Mane, Salah, Firmino to go 2 seasons. 10th level, we're now a scalp, so teams are going to come at us harder. That's why I think he needs to try and integrate Shaqiri.
There's no World Cup this year.
There's that as well.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Carabao Cup starting. So
we're in a World Cup year.
Yeah.
This year, you sure?
It's Euro year, but we got that World Club Cup in December. Is that what you're?
Oh, is that what you're referring to?
World Cup, and then it's Euros. So you've basically got Euros, and I'm sure there's African.
No, the African
just had one.
last year.
They just had one.
No.
But you look at what Manny said. Manny energy levels are high, man. He's obviously eating the right stuff, but because he didn't even want to take a holiday after
hard food, man.
I'm telling you,
that's commendable. But I still think that like 2 seasons, you're asking them basically to go 2 seasons.
Well, the thing is, you got to trust your players. If they're saying to Klopp, "I'm good to go,"
nah, man.
He's got to manage them. He's got to look out for their health and safety.
When you think about it, though, it's only 90 minutes. It's only an hour and a half, and then. You get 2 days rest
at that level of intensity.
Yeah, but what my point is that we go to work 5 days a week from, just for argument's sake, 9 till 5, and we do that. They've just got to run around a pitch for 90 minutes twice in a week.
I think it's the not just the physical, it's the mental aspect of it, which I think wears you down because. Is that why I never want to go to work? But you know what I mean. Sometimes you could, if you get it into your head that you're run down, you'll actually feel run down. You know what I mean? And I think there's that aspect of it. I don't think it will be as big a deal for us because I think our press is matured. So we're not 90 minutes kamikaze where we pick our moments like you mentioned earlier. It's not as big a deal as it used to be in Louis Klopp's first couple of seasons. I think now it's matured to the point where people know when to sit back and just pass the ball around the back between the centre backs and then step it up. Gears. You know what I mean? We've got gears, so levels. I think that it's matured. So I don't think it'd be as big a deal. I mean, you've got to use your squad. That's what we got the squad for. We can't possibly expect Mane and Salah and Firmino to play that many games and not get tired or risk injury. So you just got to rotate them.
Jurgen realised after his first year, he realised very quickly that he couldn't play that mad press because he's got more games. So he just presses when he needs to. They press at certain times of the game. They press certain players at certain times of the game. He knows this. So I'm not unduly worried about that. And also, to a certain extent, the back element of the club now with the sports scientist and the data scientist is way above it was before he turned up. We're just at another level with that kind of nutrition and the data science and all the kind of data-driven technology that's going on in the background. We are at that level now. We're even nicking Man City's physio.
Spoken like a true IT man there, Jay.
Yeah.
Sorry, plus one other thing I wanted to add, we forget that how many teams do we need to press? Most of the times now we've got the ball. We're in possession.
True.
There's only a handful of teams where we'll need to press for prolonged periods. So against Arsenal, we pretty much had the ball the entire game. Against Newcastle, we're going to have the ball. So there's not much. The other team is working 10 times as hard as we are because we got the ball. It's like City do it all the time, but we do it to a less extent. So I think there's only going to be a handful of games throughout the season where it's intense to that point. So I think we should be all right.
Okay, so getting back to the Napoli game, then nobody sees much of a problem. Everyone sees us.
I see
something.
I think it's be difficult. I don't think it's going to be as straighthtforward as we think.
No, but in terms of you see us getting something from the game.
Oh yeah,
I'll
yeah.
get something from the
I think
game,
we
yeah.
get a point. Probably even win.
Happy with a point from that game.
Yeah.
Well, you would be, especially now the rules have changed in terms of it's not goal difference anymore. It's head-to-head records. So actually, if you get a point at Napoli, you turn them over at home. If they're in the top two and there's any kind of draw situation.
The thing is, I don't think it. The reason why it doesn't mean as much to me, because even if, say, worst comes to worst and we lost, I think we're winning all the other games. So
you're not really fussed.
I'm not really fussed about. I mean, that's why I said I'm happy the way the draw went out and we got this one out of the way straight away, because the rest 4 wins will qualify you in this group.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Napoli are going to be that bad. And was it Stuttgart and that's not Stuttgart, or is it
Salzburg. Genk.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Was it Genk?
Yeah, we got Genk back to back.
Salzburg may be a bit of a problem, only because the backing they have and the way that they play. But I think if we turn up, as you said,
They're getting it. I mean, I'm sorry, you come to Anfield, you're not. I tell you, Salzburg fans, you're not getting nothing from Anfield. None of you are getting anything from Man United.
If
that's a dream, you need to let it go. Yeah. Let it go. All of you, let it go. I'm just saying. So your best bet is to try and catch us on an off day on your ground. But I'm expecting 9 points out of 9 at Anfield, and I think we'll beat Salzburg and Genk home and away.
Fair. I could agree with that. I don't.
European champions, baby.
Yeah,
don't forget.
exactly. I don't see much of a problem in that group. I say it every year. Like, I just want us to get out of the group. Then whatever happens, happens.
Exactly. And the thing is, even if we didn't, but then I wouldn't complain, because if we can't qualify from that, then...
Well, do you know what? I want to get out of the group because we can't drop.
No. I agree. But I'm just saying.
Competitions, you know what I mean? Into the Arsenal Cup.
I always back us in cup competitions from Rafa till now. If you get out of the group, you get to knockout stage. I'd back us because we've always found a way to win those games. Yeah.
Anfield crowd coming to
people
it.
People are afraid. People are going on television talking about it. Pep's talking about it on television. And when we went there, and this is terrifying.
I tell you, we're living rent free in his house.
Rent free. He knows when it comes to Liverpool. Respect to Klopp. Sorry, Pep. He's a great manager. But he knows. I think he wants to manage Liverpool, to be honest with you. I think.
Really?
Yeah, because, I mean, City just got a lot of money, but there's no real passion there, is there? It's not.
I don't think we fit. I don't think Pep fits Liverpool.
He doesn't, but,
Klopp's personality fits Liverpool.
You've seen Anfield rocking, and they got 5 fans in their stadium, and they,
you say
from
that,
Dubai.
But it's a Barcelona, and if you know Barcelona, that they are a very centrally driven club with the fans, and I think Pep, he might fit, but I'm not tempting no fate here because I want Jurgen here for a long time.
Yeah, let's move on from that swiftly. Okay, so after the Napoli game, we're gonna have Chelsea away. If we beat Chelsea, does that send out a message to the rest of the league, or have we sent enough messages already?
This one sends a message.
No, I think we sent enough messages.
This one sends a message for me to like those Arsenal's, Tottenham's who think that they might close the gap if we go Chelsea, we beat them. We're like, you know what? Get that idea right out of your head, and like even to City. For me, if we can beat that Chelsea, that sends a message to City that, you know what, they'll be expecting us to slip up, and we go there, we put in a performance, we're still top. That disheartens them. So I think if we can get the win, that'll be massive.
That Chelsea team, that defence is...
It's leaky.
It
is leaky.
I look at that defence and I'm like, I think I'd probably get a couple.
Yeah. Do you know what? You know what? If you were on that pitch, I'd actually have a bet on that. they were, what were they, 3 or 4 up against Wolves, and
Aspilicueta has been terrible.
Yeah, they just conceded
Zuma,
too.
oh my God,
But Rudiger's back in it. He's
Well, he came off at half time, I think.
Rudiger.
So I'm not sure if he aggravated the injury or if that was like a precaution thing. I'm not sure. I don't follow them close enough.
Yeah.
I think they will come at us. I think we'll have to weather a storm in the first 10 minutes because I think because they've got a few young players in there, they've got a bit of energy. But from what I've seen of their games, they start with a lot of energy, but they tail off towards it. And this is why they've had so many games where they've lost or drawn because I think long term, I'm actually starting to think that Lampard will be successful. But I think right now, you don't want to come up against the red machine right now. It's just it's too much for you youngsters. You know
it's
what
probably
I mean?
too early in their development. But like you say, I think that they are getting the makings of a good team.
Yeah, as I said, but that's what I said. It's dangerous for me because they've got that initial energy with the youngsters and stuff. They could find to pull off a shock. Like if they beat us, I wouldn't go, oh my God, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't panic because you get these odd games where when a new manager's coming in, there's a little bit of energy and then the young players are trying to impress. You know what I mean? And if we don't turn up and, do you know what I mean? You get the weird results. But I think we turn up.
I'd be unhappy conceding any goals to people like Tammy Abrahams. I'd be unhappy.
He's a good player.
To be honest, I wasn't sure whether or not he's Premiership level, but now I'm coming around to him.
We should have done to Connor Cody.
Hey,
Man,
I think
You know what?
Motion sickness after that thing.
It was Ian Wright's. Did anybody hear Ian Wright's sound effects? Or whatever he said. That was quality. But yeah, it's the way he stood him up and then he just like ta-ta. Mew.
I would like
was
to
impressive.
respect Connor Cody for being our reserve captain, but he's not of the quality. And I think...
Yeah, but you're sport, man. You're Van Dijk's your centre-back, man. You go.
I know,
Van Dijk is doing to us fans.
I've got levels now.
Making us pushing our noses in the air. You know what I'm saying?
I think Connor Cody's been one of the better defenders in the last.
If you look at 3 of our 4 defenders, they could all hit a free kick. Enough said.
That video was crazy.
I don't know. I think Abrams has got some decent raw tools. And if he gets the time, he'll be a decent player. I wouldn't underestimate him.
It's old cliche. It's not going to be a walk in the park at Stamford Bridge. No, do you know what I mean? It's not going to be a walk in the park.
VV doesn't worry me, and I'm worried less now about Matip. I'd worry if we played someone maybe like Gomez against him potentially
because he hasn't got any form at the minute.
Yeah, at the moment. So I think that there's that element. But for me, if he comes up against either Matip or VVD. I don't think he sees a sniff personally.
But remember the Super Cup, man. There were parts of that Super Cup where I thought they were bossing it first half.
Kante, man, jeez, that guy.
Well.
Kante is the one.
Where is he? He's not injured, is he?
I think he must be injured.
Yeah.
He must be injured. So
if he don't play,
if he doesn't, you think so?
If he don't, he's the guy. That guy was seriously. I thought he was teleporting at one point during that
game. He's crazy. The way he gets around that pitch is mad.
There's no one in that team that I want except him.
Kante would get in, man. Kante's
Could you imagine Kante?
He goes beyond.
Would you take Kante over Fabinho?
Yeah,
I would.
I'm sorry, no. Kante in a Klopp system, sweet lord. You'd be like Firmino in midfield, man. It's just madness. I've got nothing but respect for that guy. Kante is just a dynamo.
People talk about world class. When people talk about world class, they bandy it about.
And he plays for 90 plus minutes.
Genuine. That's someone that could actually improve us.
Plays 90 plus minutes. He doesn't slack off. He's seriously teleport.
Wow.
Pew, pew, pew.
Big respect for Kante. Wow.
Seriously, the Malteser, man.
The Malteser, man. Your brother in arms, isn't it?
So that's why he's so quick on the ground, man. He's aerodynamic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. I think I wouldn't say Chelsea. Is Chelsea our first real test?
I wouldn't call it a test.
You wouldn't?
No.
They're a test.
That's no respect to them. I don't think they're a test.
He said it with such arrogance.
You know, hey, Trey. You know this goes out on the internet, right? You know this lives forever, right? So yeah.
I would say that if I'm looking at priorities, I'm looking at people. I'm looking at Chelsea. I'm not. I'm probably more worried about the Spurses and the Cities, and I'm probably even more worried about Arsenal. To be fair, than I'm.
No, and do you know what, bruv? I was with you until you said Arsenal. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think Spurs is when we play Spurs is the first time we drop points. I just feel.
I don't think we get. I'm more worried about Chelsea away than Tottenham away. I think Tottenham will do Tottenham things.
No, Spursy things.
Tottenham. That's what they'll do. They've got good players, but they're just For Alan, this is for you. You're not Liverpool. Peasants. No, but seriously, I think Chelsea. I'll give them the respect because I do think they've got that
100%. They deserve the respect. 100%.
And I think we're going to have to go there and play. We're not just going to turn up and win.
No, of course not. I'm not expecting them
to fight. I'm not coming here and saying that they're going to fight. Yeah, but for me,
it'd be like when you fight your little brother or sister. You just hold them on the head and they're just swinging.
I worry less about Chelsea because I see the way that they play, and I know that actually we've probably got the tools to deal with people like that. Yeah,
they'll give you chances.
And that's why I don't worry about them. And actually, I kind of go, yeah, they're tidy, and Frank is doing a decent job there with no money. But for me, we got the tools to deal with that kind of team. I think people like the Spurs and the Cities, they're different beasts. That's why I worry about them more than I worry about. And even you say you don't agree with the Arsenal piece. Actually, I don't worry about Arsenal's defence in any way, shape or form. But I tell you what, that Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe piece, different kettle of fish.
It's not a problem anymore because Lacazette's injured till when?
Okay.
There you go.
I've actually gone the other way. So initially, not doing Arsenal too much, but I did think I'd give them a bit more credit than maybe they deserve. After watching it today, they've got no heart. Yeah. They've got no leaders in the team. Yeah. They've got Aubameyang. I'm not a fan. I don't care if he scores 200 goals. The guy gives you nothing else. He doesn't. If he's not scoring, he doesn't do anything.
But you remember that they're playing against people now. They're playing against teams today that really, no respect to them, but they don't care about them. Yeah, right. When they come to play the Uniteds and the Liverpools, Arsenal are a different beast. Yeah.
Most teams step it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, forget Arsenal.
Yeah. Boo.
We sent you packing anyway. You came Anfield and we spanked you in your bum like a naughty child and sent you home, mate. Do you know what I mean? So forget that. Boys, surprisingly enough, that is it. An hour goes quick, doesn't it, Dre?
No, more time than an hour.
You know what I mean? Hour goes quick, boys. So it is time to wrap it up. Just want to say quickly, if you're not doing so already and you're watching this on YouTube, mate, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this. Comment under the video. Let me know how crap my hosting is. No, I'm joking. I'm the best host ever. No, I'm joking. Do all that good stuff. And also follow us on Twitter at South Anfield, Instagram, Anfield_South1. Also, if you want to, sit on the sofa and discuss a Liverpool game, get into the WhatsApp group, just like Sam, just like Dre. And it could be you sitting in this chair chatting rubbish with us. You know what I mean? But I say rubbish. We're educated guys. It's good stuff. But yeah, boys, it's been emotional, man. So today we've had Chris with us.
Feeling good.
Dre. Peace. And of course, Sam.
6 times.
Hey, until the next time, people.
That's unbelievable, it really is. I think they should stick to playing football. Terrible. What do you think, Kenny? Oh, yeah.